Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Today I'd like to offer you an advanced writing lesson. It's feedback that I gave to a client today and spawned this little talk. A client of mine wants to work for a top magazine, and he showed me a draft of his cover letter. I offered him the following suggestions, and they should be of value to anyone, whether you're writing an important email, or a psychological report, or the great American novel. First, write for your audience. You're not James Joyce, who can write as abstrusely as he wants. Picture your audience and write so they can easily understand what you're saying. And if you're trying to persuade, ask yourself if you need to preempt likely objections. What arguments and examples would best persuade that audience? Second, do no more than a bit of outlining up front. Next, what you'll do in just a word or three each, list your key points, or just simply start writing your first draft, starting with the very first sentence and not getting out of your chair till you finished that, even if it's a crappy draft. That helps ensure that your draft is coherent, that one idea follows from the other. Next, the first sentence must compel, making it clear that it's worth reading further. In today's era of information overload, people, especially busy people, decide to read or to press delete after just the first sentence, maybe even before that, in just the email subject line. A subject line like query from obsessive fact checker is more likely to entice than looking for a job. Next, go over the draft many times. Keep reviewing the draft until you've gone through it once without having made any changes. Then put it aside for at least an hour and reread it with fresh eyes. Finally, read it aloud. That's going to help, like I'm doing here right now. This is a Psychology Today article, and I always read aloud the penultimate draft. It'll help me identify typos, poor word flow, and other little fixes. Next, excise every unnecessary word. Each of those dilutes your writing and wastes the reader's time. Down with flabby writing. For example, my client wrote, I worked with a multidisciplinary team of writers, producers, and strategists. The words multidisciplinary team are superfluous. It's enough to say writers, producers, and strategists. Another example, he wrote, I probe assertions, for example, quote, game-changing tech in Silicon Valley, end quote. Well, the word Silicon Valley is both superfluous and it's inaccurately restrictive. Tech hype isn't limited to Silicon Valley. Next, no cliches. My client wrote, my thinking on this issue is all over the map. That's okay in an everyday email, but in writing to an editor at a top magazine or any kind of important writing, it's better to say, for example, instead of my thinking is all over the map on the issue, saying many factors bear on the issue. Next, excise even anything that could be perceived as exaggeration, maybe even born of desperation. My client wrote, I eagerly await the latest issue, ready to devour it. Even if it's true, the words ready to devour it risks being seen as hype. Better to say, for example, I look forward to the latest issue. In fact, I don't even let them pile up. That's more credible, plus it adds a bit of humor. Next, use the precise word. My client used the word explain, where explicate better conveys what he intended. Explicate means a meticulous explanation of detail. It also conveys gravitas, which was his goal. If he were writing to a less educated audience, yes, the more familiar explain, the word explain, would be preferable, but he was writing to top editors. And finally, show, don't tell. He wrote, I love every issue of the magazine. Better for him to have added, for example, in the most recent issue, the article, Has the Pandemic Transformed the Office Forever? Went beyond the obvious need to balance privacy with opportunity for collaboration, but also it considers society's undergirding currents, the primacy of the visual, and restoring balance between hierarchy and egalitarianism. The takeaway? Craftsmanship in writing and in oral language will increase your influence, whether you're a clerk or a CEO, a psychotherapist or a philosopher, or anybody who just wants to write intelligently. Be concise and precise. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.